I know you guys have been really excited to hear this session about buying and cryptocurrency communities across the globe. So we are about to bring on Michael Cobb with ECI Developments. I love ECI Developments. They are an international company that just is on the cutting edge of growing when it comes to green and when it comes to sustainable and just innovative type of properties and communities out there. So if you're not already following ECI Developments and registering for their webinars that they give every month, you are missing the boat, you guys. Let me tell you a little bit more about Michael. At the height of a successful career in the computer industry, Mr. Cobb left the firm Exotic K International to provide loans to North Americans purchasing properties throughout Central America. The company was later converted to an international bank under the jurisdiction of Belize. Mr. Cobb and partners created the ECI Development, a multi-country developer with projects in 4 countries of Latin America: Belize, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. Communities are planned in Argentina, Ecuador, and Chile as well. ECI owns 3.5 miles of Pacific beachfront in Nicaragua, 1,100 acres and 3 kilometers of coastline in Costa Rica. Oh my gosh, 3 properties on Ambergris Caye, Belize, and 2 projects in Panama, 1 on the Pacific and 1 on the tropical highlands. Residents enjoy a golf course, restaurants, club facilities, pools, tennis courts, and other lifestyle amenities. Cobb speaks at dozens of international conferences annually about the offshore real estate, finance, development, and ownership. He was a consultant to the Oxford Club, hosted a weekly radio program, contributes to overseas publications, sits on the board of several international companies, and gives counsel to projects throughout Latin America. We, again, are so grateful to have you with us today, Michael. And I do want to say this is the replay. Unfortunately, we missed a little bit of the recording on Michael's session. So it's going to be a little bit choppy on this particular version, but that's why you want to register for Homeownership Day next year, because Michael has already said he's going to join us again. Thanks so much, guys, and enjoy.
The protocols that we have for anti-money laundering and know your client, take them seriously. When you're asked for things like a copy of your passport or a copy of a utility bill, and you think, why do they need a utility bill? Well, a utility bill with your name on it says that you're a real person and you live at a real address, right? I mean, something that simple, and you match it up to a driver's license or a passport. Now it all connects. And so all of a sudden, you are a real person, you're legitimate, and the transaction can occur. So some of these things you might scratch your head and go, but this is why. And how a trade happens. Clear all your AML stuff. And by the way, that can take a day or 2 or 3, right? It can on a big transaction, right? Look, if you're just in a shop and you have Bitcoin on your phone, you can transact pretty quick, right? But if you're doing a transaction for $100, $200, $500, $1 million for a property, right? You want that AML on your side and you want the AML on the other side done right. And that can take 2, 3, 4 days. Doesn't have to take very long, but that's how long it can take. Plan for that. So once you've figured it all out, you set up the time, right? And let's assume it's $1 million home. Well, and let's assume it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's moving up and down right now, down, right? So you want to set a specific time to do the transaction so that your $1 million equals X amount of Bitcoin. Boom, the transaction's done, right? The currency risk is not on the table, right? So you send a very quick small transfer. Are the wallets communicating? Great. Yes, they are. You know that within a couple minutes. Boom, you send the $1 million, right? It is confirmed 6 times on the blockchain. This is important. Again, these transactions are confirmed 6 times and then they're logged. And once they're logged, they are permanent. Done. It's on the blockchain, never to be changed. That transaction has occurred. It will always be logged there. And then, of course, you'll get a receipt for the transaction. We talk about AML and we talk about money laundering and are these Bitcoins truly secret, super secret, right? Well, they are for general population, right? For you and me, we can't go see. I can't see how much money's in your wallet. You can't see how much is mine, right? All of those kinds of things. But when push comes to shove, and these Russian hackers come in and they shut down the pipeline, the Colonial Pipeline, right? Can the FBI dig around and find it? Yes, they can, and they recovered 63 bitcoins, right, out of 75. So not a bad recovery in a situation that was just a bad situation. But again, the security is there to protect us as we transact, right, anonymously. But if things go really dark side, that they have the ability to get in there and get it. Take a look at this. Take a look at this headline: 2 billion new Bitcoins. This is the piece. 92% of millennials don't trust banks. Hear that. 92% of millennials don't trust banks. Wow. Well, one of the reasons they don't trust the banks is, you got the Federal Reserve printing money like crazy. Inflation, never had it really for a long time. Last year, 7%. I mean, millennials kind of get it, right? They don't have any bias on this. They're just kind of very observant of what's happening. And they say, my goodness, I mean, we're printing money and the banks, they don't take care of people like us, right? They take care of the wealthy folks. And it's, it's kind of stereotypical, but at the end of the day, this is how they feel. 92% of the millennials don't trust banks. So what will they trust? Something that's diversified, decentralized, permanent, right? Bitcoin. Bitcoin is gold to that generation. Look, for many people in my generation and older, and even some folks, younger, gold was the go-to anti-hedge or anti-inflation hedge, right? It was sort of the solid bet, right? Well, the younger generation, their phones and their screens, and for them, something like Bitcoin with 21 million coins, period, never anymore, becomes that kind of inflation hedge, that certainty that I think we all want, right? As a hedge against inflation, a hedge against the future. So Bitcoin becomes what works for that generation. And we have to pay attention to that. Look, I have a great analogy I give in a couple of my other talks. And I always ask if you own a pizza parlor, and you hated anchovies, would you still sell anchovy pizza in your pizza parlor? I mean, I hope the answer is yes. I would, right? I mean, because it's not about what I like, it's about what my customer likes. We need to understand that 92% of millennials don't trust banks, right? Whether we trust them or not, irrelevant. If we want to serve that millennial community, we need to understand where they are thinking and what they are doing. Understand this: Bitcoin is what they're thinking. This is where they're going, more and more and more. And Bitcoin is kind of like dollars and cents, right? If you have a Bitcoin, it's worth $37,000 today, right? But then you've got these fractional pieces called Satoshis, which get down to be fractions of a penny, right? So again, it becomes a very easy transaction. A millennial walks into a Starbucks, $8 for a coffee, whatever it costs at Starbucks, right? Boom, on their phone, it's over, right? You want to get and in fact, we're going to talk about El Salvador later, a 50-cent pupusa, boom, on your phone, 50 cents of Bitcoin transacted, right? So you don't need to just do these big transactions. It becomes very transactional at many dollar volumes. And this is a piece that is so important for us to understand as well. Bitcoin and the blockchain in this case, already are a major disruptor, and they will continue to be in ways that we don't even fathom yet. We can't even imagine some of the ways. But some of the ways that they are taking middlemen out of transactions, taking a bank. If you and I want to transact on a home, right? We no longer need a bank. I mean, if we need a mortgage, we do, right? We don't really even need anyone in the middle of that transaction, right? I mean, and this is what's scary, I think, to a lot of people in industry. As titles get lodged on the blockchain, as titles to property get lodged on the blockchain, we no longer need escrow agents, title insurance companies, because once it's on the blockchain, it's permanent, right? I mean, these are the kinds of evolutions, and they're not going to happen right now. They're going to happen over the next 3, 5, 10 years. But if we're going to be in this business for the next decade or 2 or 3, we better be paying attention to some of these disruptors, right? The middlemen are going to go away, right? Will they still need professional realtors like us? Absolutely. Our job's not on the blockchain. Our job is to help people find the home that's right for them, or list the home that somebody wants to sell, of course, right? There will always be people in this industry, but a lot of the transactional elements are going to thin out, and all of a sudden may or may not be a need for those people in the middle. So it does reduce the costs and fees as well. Again, lots of things that are very, very important. And then one last element that I want to talk about on crypto before we kind of get into sort of the global element here is that, we look at collateral as something pledged for security, right? And whether we're pledging a house or we're pledging a boat or stocks or bonds or cash or gold, I mean, all of these things can be pledged as collateral, right? And in our business, normally it's the home we're buying that's pledged as collateral. Well, something awesome has changed. Bitcoin is now accepted as collateral. Not broadly, not by a lot of institutions, but this group, Milo, they offer crypto-based, it's not just Bitcoin in this case, but crypto-based asset lending. You deposit your crypto with them, you can pull out cash and go buy a house with it. They were the first to come up with it. Salt is another one that does it. Interest rates are a little bit higher. You can see the interest rates there, 6%, right? Shorter terms. Again, this is a market in its very early stages, right? But these are where people who have a lot of crypto can go to place their crypto, use it as collateral to buy a home. And so if you're talking with clients and they're in the crypto space, right, and they have significant crypto assets, right, this is a way for them to leverage that crypto without spending it, right, to be able to acquire other assets. It's happening in the commercial sector in Miami. That was a very big transaction that happened last year, just under a year ago. And we, our company, financed the construction of our Marriott Hotel in Belize with Bitcoin, right? We were the first international transaction in the world that we know of. There may have been another one, we don't know of it. First transaction in the world internationally to transact with Bitcoin as the collateral for a development project. So again, it's happening and it's real. And again, people can pay with Bitcoin, and people have bought their residences with Bitcoin. We accept it. We've accepted it for 5 years, and we're going to continue to accept it going forward. And this transition from only fiat to fiat and crypto, right, is transformative. Again, 16% of the population has crypto, right? So you could write those people off, or you can open your arms and welcome them in. And so this is the decision that you as a business owner or someone in the real estate industry has to make. You have to make the decision whether you're going to open your arms wide to this community of crypto people who can bring a lot to you in terms of their desire to own properties, either buying it with crypto or leveraging their crypto with different loan options that let them do that. So I encourage you to open your mind and become willing to explore crypto, willing to explore the opportunity of working with people in this space, because this is how we grow our business, and we can be on the front edge of this rather than trying to play catch up later. So we're going to talk about the international element just for a minute, and we're going to wrap up. I'm going to leave time for Q&A. The reasons people are buying property overseas: diversification, right? People are looking for ways to, not have all their eggs in one basket. Yeah, they have 7 rental properties, 15 rental properties, but they're all in the United States, right? So they've got diversification in one basket, but a lot of people want different baskets. They want to diversify, geographically and outside their home country. Path of progress. When you go into Central and South America, you're moving into the developing world. Well, what does that mean? It means developing in relation to the U.S., right? So you can put yourself in the path of progress. If you find a place that doesn't have McDonald's yet, and I hear people go, boo, we don't want McDonald's. That's fine. You don't want anchovy pizza. Who cares, right? I mean, the point is we're going to serve people who want that. So if you find a place that needs a McDonald's, right, that a country that doesn't have them, or very many of them, maybe you can put yourself in that path of progress, right? And then there's obviously the lifestyle reasons people move overseas: quality of life, cost of living. These 3 drivers really are what make people look overseas and then actually transact and own property. There are hot spots all over the globe, and here's 15 of them. the hottest spots recently when we pulled this. But again, they're everywhere. They're all over the globe, and each location has a very specific reason why it's a hotspot. A lot of people want Europe, and they're looking at Portugal. They're looking at Serbia. People looking at Southeast Asia, of course, right, and have been for a long time. But a lot of people looking north-south, right? It's easy to travel from North America to South America. The time zones are the same. And so, we see a lot of folks who want that as, as their way to globalize, right? Stay on the north-south axis. It tends to work for folks better than other ways. One question that people ask all the time is healthcare. How good is the healthcare? Well, you know what? There are phenomenal hospitals around the world. Many countries are specializing in medical tourism. Thailand has for many years. India has. Colombia, Costa Rica. These countries really attract people to come to their world-class medical facilities for medical tourism. So the hospitals are there, the clinics are there, the physicians are there, the nurses and the care staff. It's all tremendous. And as Angie said, I lived in Nicaragua for 14 years and moved there with my wife and 2-year-old daughter. Had another little daughter who came along, and we had a tremendous life. And the medical care was the least of our concerns. It was world class at every level. And the care we got as patients when we went to the doctor or to the hospital was tremendous as well. Again, quality of life, low cost of living, have a maid for $200 a month, have no chores, right? Get somebody to come to your house and give you a massage in your home for $20, right? This low cost of living, high quality of life. If you like eating organic fruits and vegetables and you're tired of giving Whole Foods your whole paycheck to fill a cart full of groceries, you can eat so well and live so well on so little in many parts of the world. But this is the piece that I want to just mention and just say, it all sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Great weather, low cost of living, eating organic fruits and vegetables, and having this quality of life at a much lower cost of living. And a lot of people understand that, they get it, and they rush into it. And my word of caution, and I hope that you would caution your clients as well, is slow down. Proceed with caution, right? And this is when people do it wrong. It's margarita madness. They're in Cancun or Cabo or whatever. They're having the time of their lives. And by the time they come home a week later, they're the proud owner of a condo in Cabo or Cancun or wherever it is, right? Well, it's not how we buy real estate in the States. We don't do it that way, right? But when we go overseas, sometimes we get what's called margarita madness, and maybe it's a good decision, but maybe it's not, right? Proper due diligence requires paying attention to the things that matter. And one of the things that we have to absolutely understand is that we don't know what we don't know. When we go to a foreign country, we're going someplace new and foreign by definition. And we don't know what we don't know. And we also have to forget what we think we know, right? We come with assumptions. We come with, oh yeah, there's probably title insurance, or oh yeah, there's an escrow for the money. In most cases in Latin America, there isn't. There isn't, right? And that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It just means we have to change how we think, right? So we have to change how we think. And I always like to give this example. When we compare products in anywhere, right? We the old saying is we compare, we don't compare apples and oranges, right? We compare apples and apples. But all apples are not the same thing either. Nuance is important. Understanding that just because it's an apple, just because it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath condo with a view of the ocean, doesn't necessarily mean it's the apples on the left there, right? It may be the apples on the right. And I've got one example that I want to show you, right? So we actually produce a book called the Consumer Resource Guide. If you want to get a copy of this, I have an email address in a moment. Send me an email and just say Consumer Guide in the subject line. We will send you this. It has 15 questions people should ask when they buy property overseas. It's got country handbooks, all kinds of stuff. It's not a sales document. This document is a consumer resource guide. But look at this question. This question right here. first of all, would we think to even ask this question, right? We don't know what we don't know. And we're going to make an assumption that, of course, every bathroom is plumbed for hot and cold water. Duh, right? Of course it is. Well, take a look at the view from that condo. I mean, $379,000. I don't know what that would cost in California. Probably put a zero in it. $3.79 million, right? For that condo in California, right? And you walk in there and you go, oh my gosh, this is tremendous. And you look at the bathroom and you think, that's a nice bathroom. It's not super luxe or anything, but you know, it's nice. It's got a good faucets up top and the lighting above the mirror was nice. And like, okay, this is nice, right? And if you didn't know that you had to get down on your hands and knees and look under the sink, because I'm not sure most people understand what they're looking at on that picture on the right. What that is a cold water pipe coming out of the wall with a Y splitter on it, okay? So that both taps up top have water, but they're both cold. There's only cold water to 2 of the 3 bathrooms in that condo. Do you think your clients would want to know that they would be or maybe they wouldn't, but maybe their kids or their in-laws or guests who come and stay in the other 2 bedrooms, right? The other 2 bathrooms, right? Would they want to know that there was only cold water? People were taking cold water showers before they wrote the check for $379,000? I think they would. And if you believe they would, you can bring value to the outbound transaction. You can advise your clients, right? Hey, when you go overseas, look at that view. It's tremendous, right? Right? It's tremendous. But you know what? Let's make sure there's hot water in all the bathrooms. And this is one way you can do it. Just we put a special email address here because we're talking about crypto today, but crypto at ECIDevelopment.com. In the subject line, just simply write consumer guide. I will send you this resource. It's a PDF. It's about 100 pages. It's a tremendous document. It's also made available for you to pass along to your clients should you choose to do that. Again, you have the ability to bring value to the outbound transaction. So important. So I just want to kind of wrap up here and kind of pound through, again, sort of the bigger picture of why people are looking overseas. Lots of different geographies. People are looking for a vacation home, investment properties, retirement homes, right? There's every kind of climate from jungles to, semi-arid to tropical beaches. There are cities in the mountains where it's 60 at night and 75 in the day. There's desert at the beach, right? People like Phoenix, Arizona. They can have Phoenix, Arizona at the beach. It's called Cabo San Lucas, right? There are so many types of geographies and activities that people like to do when they go overseas. Again, people understand what this is. People are highly desirous of this. We can help them make better decisions. We've been working in the region for 26 years. We've been doing this a long time, and we're very, very good at it. There are lots of places people can buy with crypto. Again, beautiful homes in a surf beach, homes in Belize, homes in Panama, all of these available via crypto. And I mentioned that we would talk about El Salvador, and I just want to take just a couple minutes on this and just say El Salvador got in front of the curve. They made Bitcoin legal tender last September, 4 months ago, September 7th. Bitcoin became legal tender in the country of El Salvador. This is huge. They are the first country in the world to do that. The guy that got it all started there is a guy by the name of Mike Peterson. I don't have time to tell his story. His story is absolutely worthy of being told. At some point, if you reach out to me, I will share it with you. He started a foundation, and the whole thing in Bitcoin happened because he was working in the service of others. Tremendous story, and we're just really, really proud to have him as a partner down there. Lots of things going on in El Salvador. If you want to take a look, if you want to learn more about El Salvador, we have a handbook. Again, first country in the world that's taken crypto and made crypto a legal tender in the country. It's worthy of paying attention to. Many of your clients in California, let me assure you, El Salvador's Second largest source of income is what's called remittances. It's people who live in the United States or Canada and they send money back home. The second largest source of revenue in El Salvador. You're in California. Your neighborhoods are full of people who are considering going back to El Salvador. To pay attention. These are people that you can serve. This handbook is available. Again, it's a great handbook on the country. It brings in a lot of the crypto elements as well. So send us a note. Just write El Salvador handbook in the subject line. We'll send you this. Angie, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Thank you again for joining us today, Michael. I always learn so much from you. And then I also feel like I have so much to learn after I hear you speak. So I'm sure that some of that went over like this way for you guys. But one thing that I have personally learned about cryptocurrency is the more that I just immerse myself in the conversations about it, the more and more I start to understand the little bits and pieces of this complicated, vast realm and world. And the same thing happens with investing and with real estate. And that's why we're all here today. So again, thank you, Michael. Thank you, ECI. And don't forget that you can register for some of their webinars by clicking on the links in the description below here. I also want to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors this year for Homeownership Day 2022. These are the people behind the scenes that are helping to spend dollars to get our website edited, the people who are helping to do the marketing campaigns and reaching out to the outlets so that you hear about this event and that the word gets out about Homeownership Day. So we want to thank the Money, Real Estate, and More podcast, M&M. You guys don't forget to subscribe to their podcast and to their website. They actually have a directory on there if you need any professionals to do business with or just consult with. They've got a really good directory on the More and More Network. So thank you again, More and More Network, for being one of our sponsors this year. I also want to thank NAWRB, Women in the Housing and Real Estate Ecosystem. They are a huge supporter of Homeownership Day. They've been a part of this event since we were meeting at Chapman University years and years ago, and they continue to educate and teach us about different ways and aspects to look at real estate when it comes from the all-encompassing lens of the housing ecosystem. So thank you, Desiree and NAWRB, for being a sponsor this year. I also want to thank Vow to Save. Vow to Save is a crowdfunding platform where people can, in essence, get a website that connects to their PayPal and work with their friends to crowdfund that down payment quicker. So if you know anybody anxious about getting a home, make sure that you tell them about Vow to Save. And our last sponsor is Mountain West Financial. Thank you so much. This bank is not just any bank. They are advocates for homeownership, which is why there's such a perfect alignment with Homeownership Day. They have all kinds of different loan programs, creative loan programs, and their goal is to get you into homeownership. So thank you, Mountain West. We appreciate you being a part of Homeownership Day 2022, and we hope to have you back again next year. Everyone, thank you again for your time. Thank you, sponsors. Thank you, speakers. Thank you, attendees. It's been a great day, and we hope that you make every day Homeownership Day.